America's not going socialist, it's going medieval. This is a title, that's Zero Hedge's headline for an article which has been written by James Howard Kunstler, and he has expressed what I've been trying to say in my own words, but of course, as usual, he expresses it so much better than I can. So this is taken from the Zero Hedge article. Yeah, that sort of expresses it pretty much. So this is the delusion. I think the delusion. I saw an article in a paper here, the local paper, by a left liberal, saying that the budget of the New Zealand government was not good enough, and what they should be doing is, because interest rates are low, they should be borrowing more money. Yeah, so that's the delusion of the left, and there's also, of course, well, I don't know which is worse, but this is the delusion on the right. Yeah, it's all these nasty socialists who want coming out to tax you whether you want it or not, and blah, blah, blah. So each of them are equally deluded. And of course, here goes the poster child for it all, Alexandria, wait a minute, I can't even pronounce her name, so I won't even try. So I will read this article in its entirety because it captures so much that's being ignored. In response to what has become a nation of shameless racketeering, vivid wealth disparity, and shocking destitution on display in city streets, the party of the common man seeks remedies in the redistribution of capital. Seems more than fair to many. It's not for nothing that they style it social justice, the cutting edge of an economic system called socialism, with overtones, of course, of settling racial and gender scores for good measure. Socialism might seem to be the answer to all this unfairness and indignity, and naturally it focuses on the two activities that have turned into the worst rackets in America: higher education and health care, aka EDS and MEDS. Both are now cruel, bloated parodies of what they used to be, turning their customers into debt serfs and bankrupts. Apart from their dismal failures of basic mission to prepare developing minds for reality and, quote unquote, first do no harm. The proposed remedy is for the national government to take responsibility for running them and to make their services free to all. That would do nothing, of course, to reform the patent idiocies of the gender studies departments or rescue the sorry victims of obesity and diabetes from their toxic consumption of Whoppers, pizza and Slurpees. These dynamics operate on feedback wheels of futility for which there is no happy ending outside of drastic changes in thought and behaviour. The left now promises redemption from these great quandaries with a tag team of Robin Hood and Santa Claus ushering in a new golden era of free stuff. It's understandable, perhaps, considering how desperate so many citizens of this land are and how desperation feeds rescue fantasies. And the left may even get a chance to try this wizardry after the next election. But it's really not where history is taking us. America is not going to go socialist, it's going medieval. And why is that? To put it simply, the money is not there. But the money, in inverted commas, is only an abstract representation of material wealth of one kind or another: energy, goods, resources, and delivery systems. And all that is becoming more of a fugitive presence in reality-based civilization. We don't have the mojo anymore to nationalize and centralize these sprawling activities. It must be obvious that government is not only fatally beyond bankruptcy, but that it has reached the stage of diminishing returns from overinvestment and complexity that translates into generalized incompetency. It's hardly just Mr. Trump alone that is responsible for the chaotic paralysis all around us. Societies are self-organizing emergent phenomena. They respond to the circumstances that reality presents, and they take us in unexpected directions. The general expectation in the USA since the Second World War has been for ever-increasing material comfort provided by an inexhaustible techno-industrial cornucopia, a kind of cosmic goodie machine. Well, we'd better adjust our thinking to the fact that the horn of plenty is shockingly out of goodies, and that no amount of financial hocus pocus is going to refill it. Valiant attempts to redistribute the already existing wealth are liable to prove disappointing, especially when the paper and digital representations of that wealth in quote unquote money turn out to be figments, promises to pay that will never be kept because they can't be kept. So instead of fantasizing about free PhD programs for everyone and free insulin for the multitudes, consider instead the vista of a reduced population working in the fields and pastures to bring enough food out of the long abused land to live through the next winter. Consider a world in which, if we are lucky, the electricity runs for a few hours a day, but possibly not at all. Imagine a world in which men and women actually function in different divisions of labour and different social spaces because they must to keep the human project going. Imagine a world in which the ideas in your head about that world actually have to comport with the way that the world really works. And the severe penalty for failing that, to recognise that. That's the more likely world we're heading into. It won't put an end to dreams of utopia and cosmic rewards, but it will be a sobering moment in history. Well, amen. I couldn't have said better, even though Mr. Kunstler, I suspect, is being even slightly optimistic because he fails to take into account the freight train that is bearing down upon us in the form of abrupt climate change and global heating. I suspect in the world in which we have alternating drought and then farms being destroyed by floods, that even the ability to eke out a hard-earned living from what he describes as the much abused land will also in its turn become will come about, and in short order, I think. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. This is Seymour Rocks reporting from down under.